Okay, students. The last class we discussed about outbreak of the first war of Indian independence. So let me continue. Effects and consequence of the 1857 uprising or results of the 1857 revolt. Under this, some points comes under that impact and consequence of 1857 revolt. That one, end of company's rule. Companies means end of East India Company rule. Means India directly came under the control of British Queen. Next, administrative changes. So when East India Company rule ended, a lot of changes were brought in that Indian administration. Indian states under the British Crown. So number of Indian territories or principal states were under the control of British Crown. East India Company rule ended. So the Indian states were under the control of British Queen, British Crown or British Queen. Next, reorganization of the armies. So, lot of changes brought in Indian army force. That is one. Pledge to the people. Next, the policy of divide and rule. Due to divide and rule policy, entire India came under the control of the Britishers now. Next, the era of nationalism. The 1857 revolt gave a chance for that rise of Indian national movement or era of nationalism. Next, the first one, the first war of independence in 1857 brought about fundamental changes in the character of Indian administration. Remember once again, the first war of Indian independence in 1857 brought about the fundamental changes in the character of Indian administration and the future development of the countries. Brought changes in that countries. The attitude of the British leaders toward the Indian people and states changed. This British people's attitude changed towards our country and our state and our peoples. Towards our people, states. Next, and its consequence where the far reaching, the first one, end of company rule. End of company's rule and administrative changes. The rule of East India Company ended. After this, what you can say? End of company rule means that rule of East India Company ended and the administration of India passed to the British Crown. Directly our Indian administration came under the control of British Crown, not East India Company. It means the rule of East India Company ended. The administration of India passed to the British Crown. The Act for the Better Government of India was passed on 2nd August 1857. What was passed? The Act of British Government of India was passed on 2nd August 1858. Remember, that is in 1858. 2nd August 1858. And there are some points are there. This one, end of company rule. India would be governed directly by and in the name of Her Majesty, in the name of Queen Victoria. In the name Queen Victoria, she did not come to India to rule. In the name of Queen Victoria, administration ruled in India by the Secretary of State. Once again, I'll repeat that. India would be governed directly by and in the name of Her Majesty. Her Majesty means in the name of Queen Victoria, Secretary General or Secretary of State ruled in India. It's one point. Second point. Second one is there would be a Secretary of State in whom all the powers firmly exercised by the Court of Directors. Remember that is. There would be a Secretary of State in the name of Queen Victoria. They appointed Secretary of State in whom all the powers firmly exercised by the Court of Directors. And also that the Secretary of State would perform all his duties with aid of the Indian Council. That is next one comes under this. And also that is the council would consist of 15 members. The Secretary of State for India's council consists of 15 members, which 8 would be appointed by the crown, it means Queen Victoria, and the rest by the court of directors from among themselves, from among themselves were there. Next, the appointment of the civil service were to be made through open competitions as per that rules laid down by the Secretary of State. Totally, the whole Indian administration looked over by the Secretary of the State. Next, the Governor General received additional title of the Viceroy. Instead of Governor General, he got the title as the Viceroy. Remember, that is the first Viceroy of India. And the first Viceroy of India and Viceroy of India during 1857 revolt, it was Lord Canning. Lord Canning was appointed as the first Viceroy of India under the crown. Next, this proclamation, drafted according to wishes of the Queen, was publicly read out on 1st November 1858 in all the districts, towns of India. That is one point. So this is completed. Next one is administrative changes. So those we discussed about that company's rule and the administrative changes. Administrative change means the director of control, Secretary of India. So they were comes under administrative changes today. Next one is Indian states under that a British crown. How the Indian state remain under the British crown? In the historic proclamation by Queen Victoria. Who was the Queen? Queen Victoria. Assurance were given to native princes that number one is the crown had taken over their treaties and those stood to be honored. Once I will repeat, the crown had taken over their treaties and those stood to be honored. That is one. Their autonomy over the territories would be protected and their privileges, it means the rights would be maintained. The right of adoption was granted on condition of loyalties. That is doctrine of lapse. No, usually doctrine of lapse was cancelled. Right of adoption was granted on condition of the loyalties. It means doctrine of lapse has been annulled, cancelled. Next one is the main center of India were connected by railways and the imperial telegram system functioned nearly every state. So these are the points under that British crown. So reorganization of that armies. So that the Royal Indian Army was created by merging the existing armies under a commander-in-chief. So the head of the army force was a commander-in-chief. That is one. Next, the proportion of the British to Indian soldiers was substantially increased. That is one. British should control all the strategic places and posts. Who controlled? Only British should control all the strategies, places and the post. No Indians would be a given position in the artillery units. So British did not give chance to Indians in the artillery units. Regiments would not follow any religious or caste norms. Means military regiments would not follow any caste and religious. That is, soldiers belonging to different religions, that is was not considered. Religious, caste were not considered in that army or regiment. Regiment that had remained loyal to the British, like that Gurkhas regiment were not only retained but expanded as well as excluding Gurkhas, remaining all included in that Britishers. They are all regiment loyal to that British. Next come to that pledge to the people is one more reason. What was the pledge to the people? The main reason, the declaration of the Queen that raised the hopes of the Indians contained certain positive assurance. One among the first one, The first was her promise of equal treatment to all. So, British decided to treat all the Indians are equal. Equality before law was applicable, was implemented in India. The first once again, the first was her promise of equal treatment to all her subjects, Indian and European. They treated Indians or Europeans, both are equal. That was one point, comes under this. Next one is the primary concern of the government would be moral and material advancement of the people of the countries. They give importance to moral. The primary concern of the government would be the moral and material advancement of the people of the countries. The government would not interfere in that socio-religious beliefs and customs of the people. Is very important. And British decided not to interfere in the social, religious beliefs and customs of that Indian people. That is the main important point. So like that, so all the pledges made among the Indians. So pledge to the people. It means Indians got freedom. They can practice their religion. There was no any force to convert into Christianity, and they were not forced to be loyal to the Britishers. No. So like that, freedom, somehow freedom given to Indian peoples. This is one. And the policy of divide and rule. The policy of divide and rule has played very important role. This period marked that beginning of new policies. The thin wedge was drawn between the vested interest of the ruling aristocracy and the welfare of the common peoples. Usually they give importance to welfare of the common people. This sought to gain loyalty of the Indian rulers while pitting them against their own subjects. That was that divide and rule policies. Another aspect of this policy was that deliberate encouragement of the split between Hindus and Muslims. Remember that is, they wanted to control national movement and they wanted to control their rule over Indians. Because of that, they followed divide and rule policy. Usually the divide and Hindus, Muslims were separate. So the policy was the deliberate encouragement of the split between Hindus and Muslims was one of that main policies. This is one. In the initial years after the war, which had shown to that communities striving together against their masters. The British hated the Muslims as they believed that later were instrumental in organizing the rebellion of 1857. But growing nationalism of the Hindus aliened the British, who took the Muslims into confidence. So like this, these are the events made. So totally the divided Hindu Muslim were separate. They split, then introduced the policy to split between Hindus and Muslims. That is come to last point, the era of nationalism after the 1857 revolt. Nationalism, it means Indians gave importance to start that nationalism. Nationalism raised India. The birth of nationalism was that chief glory of India during that period of after this war. After that first war of Indian independence, nationalism took birth in India. The spirit of defense and courage remarkably displayed by Rani Lakshmi Bai. The spirit of unity, national spirit, the patriotism displayed by Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai, the great heroic woman, and it was also displayed by Nana Sahib and other was remembered and venerated. So like that, and also that these leaders became a national hero. Jhansi Lakshmi Bai, Nana Sahib, Wajid Ali, Hazrat Mahal became a national leaders, national heroes, and a champion of national freedom. Popular songs kept their memory alive. Stories about their heroic struggle inspired our freedom fighters even century later. So, the year of 2017 marked 150th anniversary of this momentous event of our struggle for Indian independence. Like that, nationalism, unity, patriotism developed among the Indians by great national leaders. So these were the consequence, results or effects of 1857 revolt or uprising. And we also learned that is causes for the first war of Indian independence, outbreak of the first war of Indian independence. Next, we discussed about that causes of the failure of 1857 revolt, and finally we discussed about effects and the consequence of that first war of Indian independence. In this chapter, if you have any doubts, you can clarify, you can ask me and clarify the doubts. So that's it, the end of first war of Indian independence. Thank you.